All right, what's up, y'all? A little bit lower camera angle than normal, and actually, just because we are as raw and real as we are, I'll adjust it after I already started it. I mean, it was angled down quite a bit. Today's the 29th of May. It might be just about the same angle as I just had it, but 2025. My name is Evan Strong, the founder of In The Image Clothing Company. I'm in shorts, which I haven't been since like last year. And the reason is, well, I guess it's warm now, okay, but keeping shorts above the knees is this video. I'll talk about each of the 4 sides of In The Image Clothing Company and where clothing sits, and then we'll get into the discussion because, yeah, it's important to keep the shorts actually all the way above the knee joint, okay? And we'll talk about it, I'll get into it, and all the workings and musculature, skeletal system, tendons, right? They really go into the knee, and why, you know, as we say under In The Image Clothing Company, we're not about fashion by any means, but clothing, okay? So, yeah, In The Image Clothing Company, this is our main side, one of our fourths, and what we do is keyword allow the human body to work. We do it through clothing because it's the only thing placed onto us. The human body is about the skeletal system and staying within its neutral position of all the joints, because every joint has a neutral. The neutral ankle, the neutral pelvis position, the neutral shoulder, the neutral jaw, the neutral wrist, right? The whole body, every part of it has just a position that it can go out of in both directions, okay? I say we're just a mechanical machine placed onto a rock in space because we are. The human being really only has one way that it could ever work. And when we place clothing onto it, if it's not just letting the body have its operations, then the body can't. And then we have pain, which really just is our body telling us that there's something wrong, and that's no good, okay? Because then we get into deeply ingrained patternings throughout life that last for the entirety of our life if we don't know how to address it. Chronic scar tissue builds up all the places that it does, and we address it here, okay? So there's a center line to the human being. The sternum, the spine, the trachea, the nose, and our jaw, naturally stabilizing our entire body, are all in the center with 2 feet opposing the center, gripping arches inward, keeping us vertical on Earth's gravity, okay? So, yeah, we talk about so much more than just clothing, but we have to talk about clothing because when we're talking about the physical functionality of our bodies, we have to address the only thing that's physically placed onto them, and we do that, okay? In The Image Clothing Company clothing will always stay centered, fit correct, be made from 100% natural materials, and that's how we just don't alter our bodies, because the human body is natural as well. Materials in themselves are just as damaging as physical size or weight imbalances in clothing because they seep into the body, okay, through our pores. Yeah, and that's something we don't know if we don't know, okay? One of those things we just debunk, if you will. Stretch within clothing goes the opposite direction of the only way that muscles could ever work. Muscles only contract, which is a video under the main side of In The Image Clothing Company here, right? The bicep will contract to close the arm, and then on the opposite side, the tricep will contract to extend the arm, okay? Opposing muscles is also a video under the main side of In The Image Clothing Company. But the big thing is, yeah, keeping the joints unaltered, right? Keeping short sleeves short is a video we have because our elbows need to be able to fully extend. Well, yes, but, and contract, okay? And so this is similar with the shorts and needing to have them above the knees. I'll get into it, but it's not about any type of look. It's the body as the machine that it is. Hinges, rotations, pivoting, levers, operations, right, on Earth. That's all we are as a human being, truly, just a vessel for our spirits to dwell within, legitimately, okay? So another fourth of us is In the Image Clothing Company podcast. And as of last night, we're on episode 126 of In the Image Clothing Company podcast. We get into it, deep, bold, blunt, raw, real discussions on the gospel of Jesus Christ, aka the truth of all things. We're all human beings, we're all on the same earth, we all have one God, and we just discuss things as they are, imperfectly though, right? I don't ever say anything perfect, and what I do say very often is don't believe me on anything that I say, but truth is truth, and we just discuss things as they are, okay? So, another fourth of us, In the Image Clothing Company music, I show how to size and set up guitars, okay, to not alter the hands, which are essentially our shoulders, as our feet are essentially our hips. They each stem from the other end, and the body can only ever work activated as a whole. Anywhere any of the body goes, the rest of it comes with. And I also have music that I make placed on In the Image Clothing Company music. So the last fourth to mention here is In the Image Clothing Company poodles, and we specialize in purebred standard poodles. We will breed poodles properly registered through the American Kennel Club. But our slogan for that fourth of the company is letting dogs stay natural. We talk about unnatural, slippery, flat flooring, dehydrated kibble, water's been extracted, unnatural, right? Toys and accessories for dogs made out of synthetic materials. Oil is really what things like polyester are. That's all it is, plastic. It's just pumped from the earth, and then our dogs are eating these things, right? So there's a lot of things that we talk about with dogs to keep them natural. We do a lot of advocating for proper ownership of dogs, proper breeding, the importance of purebred dogs and registering your dog. It's like a birth certificate, you know, to have your dog documented in history. And that's how we further bloodlines of healthy, good dogs. So we do a lot of these things, but also dog products, okay? In the Image Clothing Company, dog products, same intent behind our clothing for human beings. On InTheImageClothingCompany.com, where all four sides of the company always come to. Staying centered, okay? Dogs have a center line, as human beings do. They have the same things I mentioned, right? Sternum, spine, trachea, nose, their jaw. They're just a machine on earth as well. So when we place things onto them, it needs to be very intentional. Otherwise, they have the same things come up: chronic scar tissue, patterning, and damage, you know, shortened lifespans for our dogs. So yeah, all these things, okay, is the four sides of us. There's a little bit of each of the four sides. So clothing has to sit in the same location for everybody. No fashion, okay? And that's a point maybe I should be making a little bit more often, I feel, because it doesn't matter what you want it to look like. Your body only works one way. And if you're a man or a woman, or tall or short, skinny or fat, any age or any part of the earth, from any time period ever, the body's always the same. Pants need to be entirely above the hips, because then there's no restriction to all the functionality in the hips, which there's a lot of functionality going into the hips, okay? And slightly higher in the front than the rear with the waistband angle, because the only reason there's muscles in the body is for them to constantly support the part of the body that they're in. The core muscles just would always be activated and could only ever even work that way. So when we place clothing on us, pants wise, that's just the position they have to be in to not deactivate our core. There's no way to train the human being. It'll just do what it'll do unless there's a restriction to it, or you know, something damaging it, amputation, deformity of something, whatever it could be in your body. But unless there is something, it just is designed to work. So, yeah, okay. The tops that we wear have seams on top of our shoulders that need to sit evenly behind the peak of our shoulders, because our shoulders only can ever work behind our head, and they need to be even as well, the seams. So the dreaded collar seam modification hasn't been so often in the Image Clothing Company videos as of, up until now. To see me in just a t-shirt, I'm normally wearing button-ups, and The dreaded collar seam modification that we have, it's one of those things. As I say, it's as real as it gets, but it's so small that it doesn't seem like it would really do very much of anything. But yeah, okay, look up under In The Image Clothing Company's main side, our dreaded collar seam modification, and you have to have your seams sitting evenly, otherwise your shoulders are just rotated, and a seam in the collar won't allow it to happen, okay? Keeping collars centered is a video under the main side of In The Image Clothing Company here. Same with dogs, right? As I talk about centered collars, weight-wise and fit, and not rotating around them because there's weight on a certain part of it, right? So the edge seams of our tops need to be right at the edges of our shoulders because that's just where the functionality of the joint is, and it just couldn't do anything else. So it needs to be able to end there. Okay, two things we have as prerequisites under In The Image Clothing Company. Conditional. There's not always ropes that we place into shoes. We call them shoelaces, but there's only one way to weave a rope across the top of the human feet without altering all the mechanics in there that then travels through your body. In The Image Clothing Company's shoelace technique is what we title that. And then we tie shoes as well as human beings, okay? We have to tie our shoes evenly over toward the center line of the human being. Otherwise, there's a rotation issue to the tip of your head and the tips of your fingers. The cotton, man. Cottonwood trees just lining this whole river right here. And it's like it's snowing at this time of the year here in Utah, the United States of America. It's just flying out of the trees. So I choke up on it when I do. So, secondly, to our shoelacing, we have to remove all tags in clothing. Tags are either causing a physical gap wherever they're placed in clothing, changing the body's only working position, and or just not allowing musculature to activate. But the body has no way of compensating for something not playing its role because everything has a role to play. Otherwise, there's just damage to the body. So, here we are, okay? Keeping shorts above the knees, okay? We have a knee as a human being. Unless you don't, all right, cool. This video is not going to apply to you then, okay? For the reasons I'm discussing the mechanics of the knee. But we have knees, okay? And the knees have actually quite a lot going on in them. There's quadriceps muscles that connect from the knee joint up into the hips. Our hip flexor muscles connect from the hips to the knee joint. We've got hamstring muscles, which are these big muscles on the rear of the leg, and they connect from the pelvis, okay? The pelvis is the hips, okay? That's why our pants have to be above the hips because of all of what's going into them. And they just can't be restricted by something placed onto them, okay? So, yeah, the hamstrings, they connect into the pelvis and then down into the knee joint, okay? The calves, the muscles back here that allow us to raise and lower our heels of our feet off the ground, okay? They come up and connect into the knee joint from the very base of our feet, okay? They come down and wrap under our heel. And yeah, there's a lot going into the knee. So the knee also has what's called a screw home mechanism, where, as you can see, when I straighten my legs all the way, my knee locks into place. Well, it goes this way, okay, and this way. There's a screw home mechanism, meaning we need to be able to fully extend our knees, okay? And if our shorts are longer than above our knee joint, then we won't be able to fully extend our knee because it'll just hit into the material. And you know, as I talk about sensory activation, there's nerve endings all over the body. Like when we touch things with our fingertips and we can feel it, right? It's rough or smooth, hot or cold. That's actually all over our whole body. And you can feel it, right? I mean, you can feel your sleeve against your arm. with your arm. Your leg can feel the pant cuff of the shorts against the rear of the knee joint if it's too long, the shorts, and then your knees won't be able to fully extend. And the reason why I put the emphasis on be able to is because we never want to be standing like this. Some people just are in this pattern, right? But that's what we talk about under In the Image Clothing Company is the importance of internal rotation, okay? Because we live in a modern world and people are so stuck in external rotation, and then they're like this, right? But gripping those arches inward and getting the hips to be unaltered by pants, right? And having our shoulders in their only neutral location, which that's where tops sit, right? Keeping tops waisted, a video under the main site of In the Image Clothing Company. All the things that we talk about with clothing. My dog. I'm not trying to whisper but there's a cute dog over there, okay? Like a doodle dog. I think it's a mini golden doodle. It's cute. Anyway, as we talk about, right? There's just only one way the body actually could ever work. Truly for everybody. It doesn't matter what your body is shaped like. If it, has all the function that a human being just does, right, at its foundational human being, then our legs need to be activated, okay? We don't want our legs to be straightened, because look what my shoulders do, right? And the whole body just changes rather than just working how it naturally would if it wasn't altered, okay? If there's wind noise, there's wind noise, okay? But the big thing is all of those muscles that go into the knee, they just need to be able to work the way they're going to without having to try to avoid the cuff of a pair of shorts, okay? So what happens is we need to be able to bend, right, the knee back. That's why what I was referencing there with the video titled Keeping Short Sleeves Short, okay, that's the same thing, right? Short sleeves, because we have videos titled How Sleeve Cuffs Affect Body Mechanics, How Pant Cuffs Affect Body Mechanics, but then these two on the short sleeves and the shorts, as far as pants go, this is kind of the same, right? It is the same. And this is really why. Check this out. The hands are the feet, the wrists are the ankles, the forearms are the lower legs, the elbow is the knee, which we're talking about a lot in this, the upper arm is the upper leg, and then the shoulder is the hips. That's really how the human body works actually. It's so much simpler than a lot of people might think, so much simpler than I ever thought in the past. Okay, so we need to be able to fully just bend at our joints, okay? And if the shorts are just too long in the rear, then we can't fully bend our lower leg up, okay? And then what'll happen is compensation, okay? You bend your leg up at the lower part of it, right, at the knee joint down, it hits something, and your body will compensate at the hips to get the lower leg up, okay? Like keeping short sleeves short, if they're on your forearms, when your forearm bends, your shoulder will compensate, okay, to try to just get more room to move, okay? So that's what I mean, right? Something on the forearm, the shoulder compensates. Something on the lower leg, the hips compensate, okay? The body's actually as simple as I just laid it out a minute ago. That's truly, it really is that simple. So, yeah, okay? There you go. We need to just be able to have full motion in our knees without them having to try to work around anything, okay? And that's what I say the human body's about, its skeletal system. The fat content changes, the muscle mass not only changes, but also the only reason there are muscles, and the only way muscles could do anything, is if they have a skeletal system to move. That's why they're there. You couldn't benefit from having muscles if there wasn't a skeletal system. It has to come first, and yeah, it's about a position. The human body, it's about its neutrals. So yeah, okay, there you go. That actually might be all that we need to say in this. This might be a shorter video than a lot of our other ones up until this one. That's totally fine. But it's that important, you know? I mean, I'll give a little context is what I'll do. I used to be a teenager, right? I mean, it's been, what, 6 years since I was a teenager, but, you know, just meaning throughout my life, but especially I remember in my teenage years, I wore very oversized clothing, okay? Well, through most of my life that was the case, but especially oversized shorts, all right? I'm gonna wait for the plane. Just doing hand signals to the plane. There's an airport in this town. A small one for small planes. That's a small plane. Okay. All right, so yeah, I used to just wear oversized shorts. I also wore shorts that were just unnatural material, so they had stretch, right? And that just deactivates your body anyway. But I would do so much stuff. I mean, I used to do so many flips, as I've said, and in the Image Clothing Company content before, like back flips, front flips, side flips, you know, on the ground or just outside, like these swing back flips, we call them gainers, where you go like this. Not actually gonna do one, but you swing your leg and do a backflip. I used to do so much parkour, if you will, okay? And I would do that stuff within clothing that was just so damaging to my body, all items of clothing. But for this video specific, long shorts. And so everything I was ever doing, you know, I mean, if I was within shorts that were either like at my knee joint or below it, which was almost always the case, my knees just weren't able to even function anywhere near normal just from that, okay? And then you've got things traveling up like shoes, heels on shoes, shoe lacing, shoe tying, tags in shoes, shoe tongue tabs, right? Got things traveling down as well, you know, shoulder seams, oversized clothing on the tops, but just the importance of being able to have your joints be able to move, okay? And this is one of those things where I've been like just not sure when to make this video. It will be titled something like how clothing affects men versus women differently. It's a video I've been thinking of making since the fall of 2024, but one of the big things with women versus men generally, okay, is almost, you know, it's almost always that women will wear their shorts above their knees, and then it's really common for men to not, okay? A lot of that is, you know, men try to get really muscular, right? And then if they feel like their legs are not as muscular as they want them to be, they'll wear longer shorts. That's seriously a lot of the reason, because people get made fun of. That's really a lot of the reason why things like this happen, truly. So anyway, that's a big thing, right? I mean, often it seems like men have worse patterning physically in their body, more pain, and there's a lot of reasons that could and do go into that. But clothing in a big way is, and for reasons like this, okay? So there you go. Well, fingernails as well, right? I mean, most men don't have long enough fingernails because, again, it's become this thing for men to have really short-cut fingernails, and then they don't have natural support, and then their bodies don't work, okay? So, right, yeah. Anyway, keeping shorts off the knees, it's a must, and it's a must for eternity, okay? The knee joint's always just what the knee joint is. Also, by the way, right, as we talk about, when you're walking or running, don't run, it's damaging to your body. Yikes, I'm not making a claim. Check out In The Image Clothing Company. But your knee needs to track in the direction you're going, first off. So if you have a problem with me saying running's damaging to the body, well, if you're running like this anyway, right? You run in the direction you're going with the hinging of your knee. But that just won't be able to happen, right? I mean, if you try to activate your body to just keep your knees working in line, right, then it won't happen. With shorts touching your lower leg, your shorts will hit it and deactivate your hips, okay? Like the forearm deactivating the shoulder, okay? And then you're just gonna have your feet point out, external rotation. So, okay, it's as real as it gets, bro, as I say. So there you go, okay? Low camera angle, I get it, but that's what we're saying in this video because it's not all that detailed of information. Just don't restrict the joints of your body is it, okay? But you just need to know that, or else you can't know that. But you know, shorts like this, I talk about, well, how zippers affect body mechanics is a video we have under In The Image Clothing Company's main side. So, you know, our zipper modification where you cut out the stitch of the rear flap behind the zipper that's just closing off the left side, because that in itself will just cause an imbalance in the length of the short pant cuffs, and then also just, you know, causing rotations in the ways that causes rotation issues, okay? So, yeah. There's a video under the main side of In The Image Clothing Company titled The Left Pelvis, and I talked about that because of that stitch, okay? But then also zippers just interlock, right? And so our zipper modification is also that, where the interlock on the higher side, you can do a little snip at the very top to allow it to sit even. Okay. And we show it under the video I referenced. So there you go. Keep your shorts off your knees, man, or otherwise your whole body will be damaged. Seriously, from your knee up to the tip of your fingers, to the tip of your head, and then from your knee down, yeah, your toes, okay, they'll be damaged as well. So there you go. Today's the 29th of May, 2025. My name is Evan Strong, the founder of In The Image Clothing Company. Check out Poodle Parade events. Under In The Image Clothing Company Poodles, we get together in the state of Utah here, okay? We've got so much beautiful scenery here, so many diverse ecosystems, right? Different terrain, deserts, mountains, rivers, lakes, all sorts of beautiful things, seriously. And we'll go on hikes, walks, or just hang out at parks with the dogs. Poodles, purebred of any size, and or poodle mixes of any size are the only dog breeds that are allowed at Poodle Parade events. It's in the name of the event, right? But check it out, okay? On InTheImageClothingCompany.com is where everything will be scheduled, so you know what you can and can't bring and what to expect, right? Timings and schedulings of each individual event. And then the main side of In The Image Clothing Company as well, where I do get together with people to do what I've done here, right? And give them information on the anatomy of the human body, the actual only way the human body could ever work, because there just truly is only one way. It's just a machine. And talk about modifications in clothing, you know, free modifications you can do, and then talk about In The Image Clothing Company clothing as well, right? And just all that we are. So thank you. That's where I'll leave this. And shout out to Xero Shoes, Xero. These are the Denver leather by them. Okay, no affiliation with them as of today's date or up until, but they're great and I show them in a lot of videos, and so I like to just give them credit where I do. Okay, so there you go. Okay, keep those joints unrestricted, because if you can see, if I like activate my muscles and then relax them just of my legs, you can see all that's happening around the joint of my knee, okay? And so that all just needs to be able to happen because God designed it to, right? We didn't design it, we can't decide it. An episode of In The Image Clothing Company podcast, I talked about a lot of things in that, and it's not our choice to want like oversized clothing, for example. Well, you can choose to do whatever you want, but your body's damaged, okay? And if you don't know, you don't know, but that's the point of In the Image Clothing Company, truly. So there you go, okay? And thank you. I keep doing that. Maybe it really is just to show the soccer goal tripod, to show how real it is. I try to stop it and then I pull it off, and sometimes it just hasn't stopped yet, so thank you. It still didn't stop, bro. Well, maybe the point is, you know, In the Image Clothing Company clothing, you know, there's a lot of modifications that we show that you can do for free within clothing you purchase, but the whole point of us selling clothing ever is so you don't have to do any modifications to it, to just let your body work. So check out In the Image Clothing Company clothing, I guess is the point, okay? And check out In the Image Clothing Company poodles. It's going to be huge, okay? Thank you. Man, I tried to stop it again, man. It didn't work. Okay. What else do I need to say about shorts? I'll just walk and talk as long as I need to about this. Yeah. Just keep them off the knees, man. There's a lot going into the knees. You know, I think the knees get overlooked, and yeah. Well, you can look up, man. Yeah, a lot of what we have. The big thing is, you know, people have such overactive quadricep muscles, the muscles in the front of their leg, and you just will if your shorts are touching your knee joint, and especially any farther down than that. So yeah, we're good. I'm praying through it. Like I don't know, it's very intentional for it to not have stopped the times that I tried. So yeah, there's just either allowing the body to work or damaging it. That's it. And you can't be held accountable for what you don't know by any means, but there you go. Okay. Thank you.